Alright, Trekkers and Trekkers, time for the third episode of Review of the Day with Rascals. Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Guinan, Ensign Lauren, and Keiko O'Brien are returning to the Enterprise from the planet Marlonia, but a transport accident results in them changing into 12-year-old children. Although the Force still retain an adult mind, the crew have trouble taking them seriously, and Picard is convinced by Dr. Beverly Crusher to temporarily relinquish command of the ship. After turning over command of the Enterprise to Commander William Riker, Picard ponders resigning his Starfleet commission, albeit temporarily, in order to pursue other interests. Meanwhile, Keiko is dismayed by her husband Miles' reluctance to be with her, and is further saddened her daughter does not recognize her. While Ro was at first upset after being reminded of her unpleasant childhood, once Guinan's enthusiasm causes her to soften, the duo begin jumping on a bed and other childish pursuits. Dr. Crusher works out how to reverse the de-aging under controlled conditions. Before further tests can be run, two Klingon warships decloak and attack the Enterprise. Ferengi pirates board the ship and take control, but Riker locks out the main computer. The Ferengi beam most of the adults on board to a nearby planet and corral the children, including Picard and his party, into the schoolrooms on board. Picard and his group try to use the classroom computers to regain control of the ship, but are prevented by the limited functionality of the condescending interface. Picard pretends to be Riker's son and demands the Riker take him to see his father, throwing a tantrum until his demand is met. He asks Riker to unlock the computer console in the schoolroom, using the rules that none of the computer games will work. After Picard is returned to the schoolroom, the lead Ferengi threatens to harm the children if Riker does not unlock the computer and teaches Lieutenant how to operate the Enterprise. Riker pretends to instruct the Ferengi officer, but spouts deliberately meaningless technobabble as he unlocks the computer console in Picard's schoolroom. With command functions enabled, Picard is able to activate a transporter safety function. With help from Worf's son, Alexander Rosenko, Guinan and Ro, they use the communication badges to trap most of the Ferengi on a transporter pad with their weapons disarmed and the exit blocked by a force field. Once most of them are detained, the children and Riker are able to overpower the remaining members and retake the Enterprise. After the events, the transporter is used to return Picard, Guinan, and Keiko to their adult stages. Buoyed by her experience, Ro decides to remain a child just for a little while longer and draw some pictures, something she never did during her childhood. Aww, that was kind of interesting, I guess. So let's look at some production notes about this episode. The basic idea behind Rascals was pitched by Ward Botsford and Deanna Drew Botsford to producers Jerry Taylor and Michael Piller during the 4th season. Taylor later recalled that they were the only members of the staff that liked the idea. Although Alison Hawke received the credit for the teleplay, it went through several revisions with Ronald D. Moore conducting the final rewrite. He explained that he did not like this story and felt that he had not, quote, dodged the bullet fast enough, but instead attempted to put his feelings aside. Part of the changes he made to the script were to add several, quote, character moments and to consult with the show's scientific advisor, Naren Shankar, about the type of scenario which would turn the main characters into children. Shankar did not enjoy the work on Rascals either, calling it, quote, not a happy day when the discussions began. Shankar did not support the idea in the initial script that there was some sort of homonuclear molecule within DNA at a child stage of development that could be reverted to. He described the concept as, quote, silly, and insisted that it was not used. He later explained that the, quote, problem was that it was virtually impossible to come up with a sensible explanation, so we kind of did a lot of hand-waving on this episode. The use of the term RVN was only created after executive producer Rick Berman requested something similar to DNA. Regarding the method in which the characters are restored to adulthood, he said, quote, let's not even talk about it. Let's just forget that it ever happened. Taylor said that Moore's changes made, quote, it work. There was also some disagreement about among the staff as to who the enemy should be in Rascals. Piller was the one who suggested the Ferengi due to the aliens' previously portrayed comedic nature. He had dismissed using either the Cardassians or the Romulans, as he felt they were too lethal to be pitted against children. Taylor was not convinced by the idea of using the Ferengi, calling it, quote, a big one to swallow, as it suggested that 5 of them could take over the Enterprise by themselves. She said the Pillar was, quote, probably right in his decision. Rascals was the directorial debut of Adam Nimoy, the son of Star Trek the original series actor, the son of Star Trek the original series Spock actor Leonard Nimoy. He had previously trained as an attorney, but decided to pursue a job in entertainment instead. He assisted director Nicholas Meyer on the film Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country, and then observed directors on The Next Generation during Season 5. His work on Rascals was praised by executive producer Rick Berman, saying that Francis Ford Coppola would have found the job of managing 4 children a challenge. Later in the season, Nimoy returned to direct Timescape. Nice. Nimoy called Megan Parlin phenomenal in her role as young Ro, and compared her to Christina Ricci. Taylor also praised Parlin, calling her fantastic in the role. Because of the expectation that Forbes would not return to the role of Ro after Rascals, Taylor suggested at one point keeping the character as a child since her return to adulthood was not seen on screen. She suggested it to Pillar and Berman, but they said they looked as if what she said was, quote, absolutely insane. Taylor said it remained a good idea, and she felt that only Star Trek could have a character change into the body of a child and yet still fly the ship. Rascals marked the only appearance by Forbes during the 6th season, but she later returned for the penultimate episode of the series, Preemptive Strike. Each of the Ferengi actors had previously played members of the alien race on the series before. Micah Gomez and Tracy Walter, who played Lauren and Barrick respectively in Rascals, had appeared in Last Outpost, while Morta actor Michael Snyder had appeared in The Perfect Mate. Rascal also marked the final appearance of Meany and Chow as the O'Briens, before they moved over to Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Meany later returned for the final episode of The Next Generation, All Good Things, in a sequence set prior to the pilot. Rascals also saw the only appearance of Hatesay in The Next Generation, although she would recur throughout Deep Space Nine in that role. Nimoy was concerned about the voices of the child actors to those of the adults, describing the casting of the Picard role as tough. Birkin was cast in that role. He had previously played Picard's nephew Rene in the Next Generation episode Family. Isis Carmen Jones portrayed the younger version of Guinan. The actress had also played the young version of Goldberg's character in the film Sister Act. However, due to the differences in the voices of the 2 actresses, Jones was dubbed in Rascals. Guinan had only been added to the script after Goldberg requested to appear in the episode at Nimoy's request. That's interesting. So overall, I think this is a pretty interesting episode, and yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about it. So overall, I give Rascals 3 warp cores out of 5. Well, join me soon for the penultimate episode of Review of the Day with a fistful of datas. So, until then, live long and prosper, everybody.